I'm delighted to be in your midst. Is this sanctuary finished yet? But it's fine. No. What are these bikes for? For effect. I think this is the first time I'm entering here. I know I'm almost tempted to sing a song. My wife often admonishes me and says, look, you start, you miss the line. But I remember the psalmist said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Therefore, if I miss it, it's not my business. See what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done. What we wait for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done. Thank you. At least I didn't miss the line. I didn't want to go beyond that. I'm a member of this present house. The reason I say so is that right from the time the place of worship was at law school, from time to time I would come in, go out, and a friend of mine was always buying the tapes. And for a long period, in my car, the only thing I played was the sermon from Tony Rappo. When Pastor Jude approached me and said, come and share, talk about your life experience. There are too many episodes. I'm writing my memoir, maybe just a snippet of it. And within that period, I think it was in 2000 or 2001, I faced heavy persecution. Persecution all over. You know, when people you thought they were friends, you suddenly realize that you are in the midst of enemies. And the period somehow my faith was strong, knowing fully well that, well, I know I haven't compromised. I don't understand where these things were coming from. And I listened to this message from Pastor Tony Rappo. It remains my very favorite Bible passage when I'm talking about creativity, I'm talking about courage, I'm talking about changing your perspective drastically. It's 2 Kings chapter 7, the story of the 4 lepers. Pastor Tony titled that message, Keep on Moving. After listening to that message, I looked around, I said, who is that pursuing me? I just need to move forward. By the time I move forward, everything is changed. And I don't like to say it, all those who persecuted me today, they are looking for me, pleading for mercy. And when I look down to where they are, I will just begin to say, well, it can only be God who delivered me. So today, I'm asked to talk about Daniel in the marketplace. The marketplace connotes everything about our endeavors as human beings. It's about our well-being. It's about how we go through struggle. How we go through struggle to make an impact, to give out a living. And doing it honestly, diligently. And doing it sincerely. And when you look at the personality of Daniel, the things you see there, first is that we must recognize that Daniel was a prisoner of war. How can somebody who was a prisoner of war suddenly call it a prime minister? It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of doggedness. It took a lot of discipline. It took a lot of commitment. And when I reflect through these very strong values and attributes of Daniel, it speaks to the attributes and core values of a zenith. Let me even start. How many of us are doing business with Zenith now? Those not doing business with Zenith, I hope that after today, you need to support me. Talk about introduce me, say I'm his boss. Do say I'm his boss. How can I come here and leave and I didn't get any business? So, if you are looking at it, and people ask often, why is Zenith so successful? Why is it that there is consistency in what Zenith is doing and delivering in the market? Oftentimes, I'll ask people who ask me, I say, go and meet Mr. Ovia to ask him how he crafted the values and engrave it in the system. It is such that it's like an automated set menu. You can't change it. Times and seasons may change, but the values remain central. And one of the things about the value is the courage to stand up to say what is right and also talk about what is not right. Even as the CEO of Zenith, we can sit in our credit meeting and we are discussing whether to give a loan or not to give. It could be the least person in the office coming up to tell us, why are we wasting time going through this discussion? I have gone through this, that. This company is not eligible for discussion. That ends the conversation. So you see courage, you see doggedness, you see resilience built in this system. So when you have such recipe that is almost automated, even when you want to go right, when it should be left, the system will not allow you to go right. You will dovetail to left. And as a result, what we see is that consistently, Zenith will continue to lead. I say this not out of arrogance, I say it out of the deep conviction of the Father. The values are so strong. The values are so strong that when people who are with us, who deliver strong results, leave us, they get to other locations, they are like fish out of water. It's difficult for them to deliver because the values and the environment are not the same. So bringing it back to Daniel in the marketplace, I would like us to look at the fact that what made Daniel to stand out? Will it be relevant for us as we encounter, as we go on with life now? Especially in this season where we have disruption. And mark you, destruction has always been part of human endeavor. If destruction have not been part of human endeavor, all of us should have been living in the caves. So I'll be looking at it from three perspectives in terms of the character of Daniel, the encounters of Daniel, his travails, and how he was able to navigate them. But the other thing for me to talk about is the fact that there's one thing we have that is very powerful, the power of choice. Wherever you are today is a reflection of the decisions you've taken over the period. If you have a doctor who is standing today, he took a decision to go to school to study medicine. You don't just wake up and say, I want to become a doctor, you become a doctor. So there are two things, the quality of the decisions we are taking and the consistency of that decision. If you do things consistently right, you will see consistently good results. There is no compromise about it. There is just no compromise about it. So, if we're looking at Daniel 1, is that Christian must be heavenly conscious and earthly relevant. No matter the amount of prayers you pray, what did the Bible teach us? It says faith without work is dead. You can pray, but after that, go out in the field. The Bible tells us, it says, for as long as the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest time will not cease. So the question is, what are you sowing? I think it's the book of Galatians that also reminds us that say, don't be deceived, God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, he reaps. So the question for every one of us is, what are we sowing into our destiny? What are we sowing into our families for a better tomorrow? I know of a family where they send their children abroad. I mean, if you can afford it, there's no problem. But it turned out that two of them turned out to be drug addicts abroad. Nobody was checking. And when it was revealed and checked later, what happened? The father used to sneak into the house, into the room to take cocaine. That was where the children found out. And you see, whether we like it or not, we model our children. I mean, I can talk about it growing up. You know, in those days, my dad used to have, if you know that, white horse. He would drink it whiskey. Then in secondary school, of course, I'll talk about it in terms of the power of influence the people we mix with. We thought it was normal, it was regular thing. So we'll go into the room where my dad kept his whiskey. We'll take out of it. Why? Because we saw him drinking whiskey. We thought it was a good thing, and we got used to it. And after drinking, one day my dad said, this thing was half. How did he get now here? My brother said, you know what? After drinking, let's be dropping water so that. After dropping, the man said, no, something is happening. Why is it tasteless? So what I'm trying to bring out here is that whatever your children see you do, they are going to do it. If they see you come home, you are beating your wife, you are insulting her, this good-for-nothing woman. When they grow up and marry, don't be surprised if they repeat that. So we have to show relevance to the home. Christians should not be carried away by greatness on earth unless they begin to dabble into immorality and unethical practices. And the other thing is that we must constantly adapt to changes in our environment. The world is not remaining the same. The world is changing. And I can tell you, in 2019, when I took over as the CEO of Zenith Bank, we had about 3.8 million accounts. We were not into retail banking. You know, in those days, Zenith made it difficult for individuals to open accounts. They will tell you, if you don't have 1 million naira, don't come and open an account. But with the emergence of digital technology, where it became a self-service kind of thing, where you can open an account without coming to the banking hall through the ubiquitous platform, we felt, look, we needed to adapt. We adapted and we pursued it aggressively. At that time in 2019, we were rated number 8 in terms of number of accounts by bank. But today, as I speak, Zenith has well over 21 million accounts. And we are a close number 3 in terms of banks with the highest number of accounts. We had about 4 million cars then. Today we have about 19 million cars. What happened was that we adapted, and our adaptation was spontaneous. The moment we realized this is what we'll do. So it's not just about adapting, but being agile about it. We saw how Daniel, a prisoner of war in Babylon, adapted to his environment and owned the environment. He owned the environment. He didn't get to Babylon and start complaining, they took us captive. We can't. But then he asserted himself. His character came out. One of the greatest things about his character was his discipline. Daniel proposed not to be entangled with the king's meat. You see that same kind of character trait in Joseph. Joseph was made the ruler of Potiphar's home. And the wife said, come, oh boy, I like you, come, let's do this thing. And the boy refused. In today's world, a lot of people say, madam is touching me. Now better should be that now. But this is a case of discipline. When people talk about reputation, when they are describing us, they are describing a reflection of what they see of us. And the discipline we are talking about here is not about what people see you do. It's about that self-conviction for you to stand on what is right, moral, and ethical. You see Daniel manifest it. So in the marketplace where we are, what can give somebody an enduring success? Being disciplined, focused, and ethical in terms of what you believe, in terms of your chosen profession. There are certain transactions you bring our way, we don't even touch it. We are quite ethical. There is no compromise. So if we are to survive in the marketplace, we must show discipline. We should show commitment to the right causes at the workplace in any person's life. Daniel also showed discipline with respect to how he even ate. Even when instruction was given, make sure they are well fed, he said, no, it's going to be vegetable. Some of us, when we see food, it's like we must die inside. We also, there's not just discipline in terms of, well, people know you, you are moral, you are sanctimonious. No. Discipline in terms of even what you eat. How can you wake up in the morning, you are eating pounded yam? Then afternoon you eat eba. In the evening you eat what? You are heaping everything inside your body. Then 2 weeks later I say my BP is. Why won't your BP be high? So part of us being able to operate and exhibit strength in the marketplace is that we must take care of our health. We as men, we must be disciplined. You can't achieve success on a sick bed. You need to be healthy. You need to be on your feet. Otherwise, you face a situation where you find yourself being incapacitated. Another thing you see in Daniel, which is also relevant, is competence and proficiency. Daniel chapter 1 verse 4, it says, young men without blemish, handsome in appearance, skillful in all wisdom, endowment with intelligence, discernment, quick to understand, competent to stand in the presence of king. We must be good in our craft. We can't microwave success. Whatever you do, do it well. The Bible even said, it says, whatever your hand finds to do it very well. There was a restaurant I went to with my wife, and the food tasted very salty. Each time she comes, she says, oh, she likes the restaurant, let's go. I say, oh, that place where they oversalt their food. So, it is good that we put our best feet forward at all times. People will only remember you and reference you by the quality of what you are presenting to them. So we have to be good at our craft. There should not be any compromise. You know, part of the things people have, I don't know, people complain about artisans. If there are people who are artisans here, please have a change of heart. They are known not to keep to time. When an artisan tells you he's coming, your plumber, your electrician, he's coming by 10, by 12 you call him, I forgot. I have so and so. We know that your program, your schedule can shift. Communicate. Communicate. I have a meeting as soon as I leave this place, and I checked my schedule. I was talking to my brother. I said, your schedule is too tight today. I said, okay, the one for 6 p.m., I'm going to step it down. As I was coming, I called the person. He didn't answer. I sent a text. I said, can we move it to tomorrow? Let people hold you for who you are. Let people find you dependable. Let people find you honorable. Let your yea be yea, your nay be no. You can't be saying yes when you are saying no. As men, you know, the Bible says, in a great house, I think it's in the book of Timothy, there are so many vessels, some to honor, some of wood, some of bronze, and some to dishonor. The consistent man, the consistent personality who keeps his word, who is good at his craft, you will become vessels unto honor. And sometimes there is something we miss in Christianity. We think it's because we come to church and we quote the Bible, we speak in tongues. Then when we go into the world, we compromise. We do the opposite. You can't have breakthrough. When people are looking for those who do job, I hardly see people ask, are you a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a traditional? It's about, can you do the job? Daniel was outstanding. He couldn't find a fault. Say he was blessed in all learning. We must take our time to develop ourselves and make sure that we understand what we need to do. I'm told I have 40 minutes. I think I need to go quickly. Another thing is that Daniel built relationship. In Daniel chapter 2, verse 49, say, then Daniel requested of the king, he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. See, he said that, show me who your friends are, I will show you who you are. Here again, we can talk about you being connected with your destiny helpers. We need to be conscious of those we spend our time with. Maybe here I'll share an episode of my life. You know, I earnestly wanted to be a soldier. I went to NDA. I was supposed to be in the 33rd regular course. It's not too long I started eating sardine. Sardine was the cause of my problem. The day we got to NDA, we had spent 3 weeks. We were doing different exercises, selection. This particular night, there was a man another cadet who was in NDA then. He retired as a General Tewe. He was always coming to see us in our hostel. And I was hungry. We went and bought sardine. We ate. The next day we came out. We were doing, that's the medical inspection this time. 30 minutes to when it would get to my turn, my stomach was rumbling. And you know, military training is hard, though. It was rumbling. I was looking right, looking left. I was sweating. And I said to myself, if you spend 2 minutes here again, you'll do it on yourself. I said, what would they do? I left the line. I went to look for bathroom. Then they were shouting my name with their megaphone. I wasn't concerned. I said, let me empty myself. As soon as I came out, there was this recruit with his koboko. He saw my name, he saw my number. He didn't ask me who I was. Pia, pia. He gave me the beating of my life. I came out, they asked me to go for blood pressure test. My blood pressure was 160/120. The man checking it said, are you the one they were looking for? I said, yes. He said, did they do anything to you? I looked at him, I turned my back. He said, okay, wait. We waited, he tried my blood pressure up to 4 times. The reading was still high. He underlined my name. I knew it was over. The next day they called us, collect money and go. I was very devastated. I wanted to be a soldier and nothing else. I had admission to go to University of Jos. When I came back, I had admission also to Auchi Polytechnic, to Federal Polytechnic Bida. And I was talking to my uncle's wife. He said, what do you want to read? I said, biz admin. He said, what is in biz admin? And I also had this obsession with biz admin. Even the year before, when I was given admission to read statistics in Uniben, I turned it down. He said, you want to be a soldier? That means you like to be a professional. I said, yes. He said, biz admin, you won't become a professional. You finish, you start writing. I can go and do accounting. That was a major shift again where I found my purpose. I went to Auchi and I did accounting. Fast forward. When we were in school, there is my friend. While we were in school, he started writing ICANN. When HND1, he had passed, then we had what you call P1, waiting for P2. So we were a year ahead, but he will come and tell us, by the time you graduate, while you people are doing your service, I'll be a chartered accountant. So that's how I was in Lagos 7. I went to Mayo. I said, let me find out about the registration. I found him there in Mayo. I said, what are you doing here in Mayo? He said, you know, I boasted to you people that I will become a chartered accountant before you all. I was only going to Mayo for inquiry. When he said that, I now enrolled in Mayo. A week to the exam, if you get closer to me, I remove my glasses, you see that one eye drops lower than the other. A week to the exam, I had this huge infection on my eye. In fact, it was like 2 weeks to the exam. Before the exam, I was distressed, ill. I was staying in their house. He was thinking of how to take me to the hospital. One day, I just took sleeping pill and I got better. After that, I had infection in my eye. I called him. I said, Pali, I'm not going to write this ICANN. He said to me, are you scared of the exam? But you say, ICANN does not refund money for exam. Better go for the exam, collect your question paper. That's how I went into the exam. I wrote ICANN, I qualified. That friend is here. That's Brimo Awudu. Brimo, can you stand up? So it was very obvious that if we didn't have that encounter, if he didn't have that influence on me, I would not have written ICANN at the time I did. So who are those you are? Tell me who your friends are. Look at the case of Naaman. Who was Naaman's destiny helper? A housemaid. The maid said, there is a man of God in where I come from. If you see him, this your leprosy will go. We don't even know who our destiny helpers are. It could be the maid we have at home. It could be our driver. We need to be sensitive to the Spirit. And I must tell you, I believe in the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is real. That's for me. I don't know about you. When I was in secondary school, I wasn't even born again. I was born a Catholic. And I read about the call of Samuel. And I said, Samuel was like a boy like me now. I started asking God, call me like you are calling Samuel. What happened was I started hearing voices. When I'm going to school, he will ask me, you are almost late. You need to get up earlier. I will turn, who is talking to me? The most important one was that after the class, when I'm returning home, you ask me, what did you study today? And I'll begin to wonder, can it be real? Then the voice, I say, what did you study today? I'll try to recall. He said, you see, if it was exam, this is how you fail it. That became the concept for me that when lessons are going on, I have to listen attentively. Throughout the time I was in school, I never read beyond 8 p.m. I never read beyond 8 p.m. because I had the guidance and leading of the Holy Spirit on what to do. There was even one very powerful one where I had only 1 night in school. And a friend came to me and said, give me money, I'm very hungry. The friend is Henry Obolu, you may know him. I cursed him, I abused him in my mind. I said, my last 1 naira, you want me to give it to you? And the voice now said, give him that money. Because I already understood this communication, I left what I was doing, I looked for him, I gave it to him. I got to the hostel. Somebody said, I've been looking for you. I said, any problem? Say, I went to Warri, I saw your brother, he gave me an envelope. I opened the envelope, 20 naira. At that time, then the voice came back and said, how much do you have now? So, we need a relationship. Being a CEO is not an easy task. There are when people are talking to you, they are not coming to talk to you about normal things. They are coming to talk to you about things that are out of order. But I have that conviction. The first thing is that this one too will come to pass. And I also know that the book of Corinthians says there is no temptation facing you that is bigger than you. Therefore, I say to you, no matter the challenges you face in business, you must hold on. Don't lose hope. But your relationship with people, you must surround yourself with people who can bring out the best in you. Look at the case of the prodigal son. He was a normal person with his family, but when he went to live with vagabonds, what happened to him? His life changed. And also look at the case of David and those that they call destitute. Because of the influence of David, they were turned, people that were written off as destitute, they became mighty men of valor. The person you associate with will either bring out the best or bring you down. In 1988, there's my friend who squatted me when we were doing youth service. We have this mutual friend who will come and say, oh, Nigeria is so bad. 1989 should not meet us here. He convinced my friend, they went to Liberia. How did they go to Liberia? They went by road. They bought groceries and said when they get to Liberia, they will sell and make money. They got to Liberia, entered. My friend said they use equivalent of Bolikaja to enter Liberia. They entered there empty. As soon as they got to Liberia, a few months later, war broke out. My friend was in Liberia and trekked from Liberia to Sierra Leone as prisoner of war. That changed him completely. So let's be conscious of those we spend time with. Reputation. Daniel took time to build his reputation. In all you do, you may lose money, but don't lose your reputation. You must not compromise your integrity. Lies have short legs. And there is no way you can remember what you said if it's a lie. But if it's something genuine, you always remember it. Build your reputation. Once you've lost it, you've lost everything. Don't lose your integrity. Daniel was outstanding. They said they looked for a way to find a fault in him, but they couldn't find one. So as businessmen and women who want to thrive in the marketplace, we must build reputation. People must see us as a reference point. We must be the yardstick for measurement. Daniel too was given to prayers. I also believe in prayer. In fact, in our office, we believe in prayers. We don't start any meeting without saying prayers. We don't close a meeting without saying prayers. But beyond the prayer is also to walk the talk. After the prayer, you must execute. Then quickly I go to Daniel's struggles with persecution and peer pressure. See, one thing is certain, no one is insulated from adversity. Indeed, the most unfortunate human being on earth is the one that has never met with misfortune. Because the day it hits you, you will think it's the end of the world. But when misfortune hits you and you've seen it before, the first thing for you to know is to say that you need to put yourself together to adjust and navigate this. You need to move on. Daniel dealt with his own pressure. Pressure of sexual immoralities, pressures of corrupt practices, pressure from peer group. We must stand out and be counted. People should see us and say, yes, I know that man. Anything he says, I'll believe. He will not misinform me. The same way, we'll face seemingly impossible situation. Every problem you face has an expiry date. It has an expiry date, believe you me. When people bring issues to me after talking about it, they try to embellish it. I didn't know that I had a popular phrase of saying, not a problem. Not a problem. Once things come, what I do is to sit back and ask. The immediate thing is, how do we respond? And when we face situations where things are changing in the office, we are spontaneous in terms of how we respond. So for the businessman and woman that wants to succeed, when you see the wind going contrary, you must be spontaneous, quick, and agile to think of the solution, to think of a way out. And part of the thing you see that when Daniel was faced adversity, especially dealing with an unpleasant situation, he reflected, he was creative. As businessmen, I can also share with you one of the strongest attributes we have as an organization while we are succeeding is our creative quotient is very high. Creativity. And when you look at creativity, you know, when God created man in Genesis, what did he say? The Bible says he looked at what he created, it was good. And he said, go into the world. See, what he created, that means there's no defect in you. And he said, man was created in the image of God, which means we are like God. One of the things about God is creation. Therefore, creativity is supposed to be part and parcel of us. I attended a conference a few weeks ago, and somebody from, say, security department in the US, we were talking about fintech business. He said, banks, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's why fintechs came in. That if banks were quick and early to innovate on payment system, fintechs will now have come in, and that is true. So the same way, every one of us, there is an opportunity for us to be creative, to develop something new. But the problem I see in people being creative is you are looking for somebody who will affirm you. Stop looking for somebody who will affirm, or some will have doubt. Will it happen? Will it not happen? I have a principle. If I try it, it didn't work, it will not work. But if a thought comes in my mind, I will try it. Early in the morning one day, I was thinking of how to deal with a problem. And again, I got the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, do this, do that. And I picked my phone, they contact the person who was supposed to give it. I called him. I said, okay, how is everything? Can we do this? You mean you can do that? I said, yes. My problem was solved and I made a big business. So creative thinking is needed for survival. Recently, there was also a man who we had an agreement with, and the agreement was not properly put together about almost 15 years ago. And he's now coming and I say, oh my goodness, this agreement was not put together effectively. We didn't think of this, we didn't think of that. The man was quarreling and backing at my colleague. I said, ask him to come. He came to see me recently. And I was just saying to myself, what do I do? I just entered, I started hailing him by his name and title. Chief this, Otumba. You know, if you are an Igbo man, you'll be Onwa. You know, if you are from here, you'll be this, you'll be that. The man turned and said, you, this boy, you are a wicked boy. You are my friend, you refuse to see me. You know I can't fight you. He said, okay, I hear you want to change the terms of the agreement. Change it, but give me more business. I got what I wanted. Let's not think of every problem as if it will consume us. Let's think of a creative way. There is always a way out to get things done. It is that way you haven't often discovered. Today we are talking about payment system. 10 years ago, it wasn't there. But today, look at what is happening out of creative abilities. So the businessman that wants to succeed today, the man who wants to be outstanding in his endeavor, must be creative. Creativity will enable you to unleash the bundle of talents in you and enable you to see the possibilities that you have in the environment. You also need to show tolerance towards others. You need to show tolerance and understanding towards others. Daniel's boldness cannot be confused with that of arrogance. There's a difference between boldness, there's a difference between confidence. You must show confidence. After all, the Bible says God has not given us the spirit of fear. We are given a sound mind. Therefore, we have to be bold. Step forward. In 1997, I was made branch manager in the then Citizens Bank in Warri. At that time, the branch suffered a fraud of 100 million. That was a lot of money then. I was going to join Standard Trust Bank then, when the board called me and said, you are going to a distressed bank that they are about to rejuvenate. If you like to go to such a distressed situation, then go to this distressed branch to work. I said, okay, no problem. I got to Warri. It was like a ghost town. The spirit was low in the team. I had to start propping up everybody to believe in themselves. Then I sat down and said, what do we do? I looked at all the businesses they had. Some of them have stopped doing business. One was Life Flour Mill in Saple. One day I told my colleagues, let's go. We got there, late Daniel Awali, late now. He was one of those that died in that, I think it was one of the air crashes. I got into his office. He said, young man from Citizens Bank, this is the letter I'm signing to close your account. He said, that's all, you can go. I sat down, I was looking at him. All of a sudden, a phone call came. They were complaining that monies that customers in Onitsha deposited in all states then, that the customers are in Life Flour Mill Saple for 3 days, they haven't been able to confirm. I said, bingo, here we go. Don't be scared to ask for what you know you desire. He dropped the phone. I said, Oga, I will solve this problem for you. When they deposit money today, I will receive it today. You will see the credit. I will print your statement. Somebody will see it. He said, but I was just asking you to go. I said, Oga, just let me solve this problem for you. Of course, we started, before we knew it, we took over the business. So we must be bold. My colleague that I went with, she was disappointed. It was, okay, let's go. I said, wait, let's listen to this phone conversation. The Bible has said, the righteous is as bold as a lion. Let's not feel intimidated. If you try and it didn't work, and so, see, if you have a bunch of keys, you want to open a door, it's only a foolish man that will try one. He didn't open it, and you keep trying. You destroy the key, you destroy the lock. That even when you get the right key, he will not open it. If you try one means he didn't work, try another one. And what you see is that the moment you start being creative and you start exhibiting boldness, and you start seeing courage, you start building up that strength, that capacity, that capability to even confront things going forward. And finally, in closing, I'll say that we need to surround ourselves with the right friends, with the right circle. We need to be assertive. Of course, we need to be prayerful. Remember in the book of Acts chapter 12, it said Herod had taken James and killed him. The church didn't do anything. He now felt it was time for him to take Peter. The church started praying. What happened? While they were praying, they haven't even finished the prayer meeting, when miraculously Peter was released. Your prayer will make a way for you. But above all, take action. The spirit of execution is where the results come out. I always tell my colleagues that strategies are prose written on paper, and it's not effective until they are executed. You must make a plan, you execute it. Make sure that your character, you are consistent with discipline. Don't give up even when things are so bad. If Joseph's siblings, if they knew the action they were taking to sell him into slavery was ultimately leading him to prime minister seat, they would have killed themselves over who would be sold to slavery. Therefore, endure that hardship. The end result of it will be good for you. Thank you.